in my mid-50s. I never expected to fall in love with my daughter's roommate. It's been 5 years since my wife passed. From my daughter, I believed staying alone was the right thing, but when she opened the door with wet hair and just a robe on, I realized, I know this could be dangerous. However, she also had a deadly secret that she had kept hidden.
Daughter's roommate.
Authentic K-drama stories. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications.
Kang Min-woo arrived in front of his daughter, Su-jin's studio apartment after 10 p.m. He was still holding a warm lunchbox in his hand. Knowing that my daughter doesn't take care of herself properly, I would come by like this 2 or 3 times a week. As soon as I rang the doorbell, the door opened. But it wasn't my daughter who opened the door. A woman stood there with long, wet hair, wearing only a gown. Her collarbone, glistening with moisture, was revealed between the gown's lapels. Min-woo stepped back in surprise. "Who are you?" the woman asked first. Her voice was calm, but there was a clear sense of vigilance about her. "I'm Su-jin's father." "Oh, you must be Su-jin's father." "I'm Yeon-hee. I just moved in as a roommate this time." Yeon-hee introduced herself calmly. Min-woo nodded and handed over his lunchbox. "Please tell Su-jin I made this." "Yes, I understand." Yeon-hee accepted the lunchbox. Her finger brushed against Min-woo's hand. It was a brief contact, but for some reason, Min-woo felt his heart racing. He hurriedly greeted her and turned away. Even in the car on the way home, her image kept coming to mind. With her wet hair, exposed collarbone, and a gaze that was calm, yet somehow lonely, Min-woo shook his head and tried to shake off his thoughts. Seeing a woman around the same age as his daughter's friend, what could he possibly be thinking? 2 days later, Min-woo was conducting interviews for new interns at the office. The door opened and a woman entered. Min-woo looked up from the documents he was reviewing, and it froze. "Hello, this is Seo, Yeon-hee." That night, it was the very woman I met in front of Su-jin's house. Yeon-hee was not surprised at all to see Min-woo. On the contrary, she calmly smiled and took a seat. "You said you're in a master's program in architecture," Min-woo asked while looking at the documents. "Yes, I started studying what I want to do, even though I'm a late bloomer." "It says you are divorced." "Yes, I got divorced at 32. So I'm starting anew." Yeon-hee's voice was calm. Min-woo looked at her. The woman he met at the interview looked completely different from the one he saw that night. Dressed in a suit with neatly arranged hair, a calm tone of voice. But the gaze remained the same. That gaze, somewhere lonely, yet firm, asked, "How do you know Su-jin?" "It's a program like a graduate school of architecture. I heard they were looking for a roommate, so I joined." "I see." Min-woo closed the document. "I was unsure whether to hire her. Is it appropriate to hire my daughter's roommate?" However, the resume was flawless, and the interview attitude was perfect. "You are hired. Please start working from next Monday." "Thank you." Yeon-hee stood up and bowed her head. Even after she left, Min-woo sat there blankly for a while, his heart racing for some unknown reason. Yeon-hee started working in Min-woo's office like that. She learned the job quickly, and was meticulous. She didn't shy away from working late. Minwoo often found himself alone with her. One night at 11 o'clock, only Minwoo and Yeon-hee were left in the office. Minwoo brewed 2 cups of coffee and handed one to Yeon-hee. Isn't it hard? I'm okay. Actually, it's better. I'm doing what I want for the first time since the divorce. Yeon-hee smiled as she took the coffee. Minwoo looked at her face. Under the fluorescent light, her skin shone particularly white. It seems like your married life has been tough. Yes, I got married at 28, and my husband wanted me to stay at home. I wanted to study more. So that's why you got divorced. Yes. I just couldn't take it anymore. In Yeon-hee's voice, there was both calmness and a certain determination. Minwoo felt that she was a strong person. On a weekend afternoon, Minwoo stopped by a cafe near his house. I ordered coffee and was looking for a seat when I saw a familiar figure by the window. It was Yeon-hee. She had her laptop open and was typing something diligently. Yeon-hee. As Minwoo approached and spoke, Yeon-hee lifted her head. CEO, what brings you here? I live nearby. Are you writing a paper? Yes, it's an assignment for this semester. Can I sit with you? Yes, of course. Minwoo sat across from Yeon-hee. The autumn sunlight gently poured in through the window. The two of them focused on their own tasks in silence for a while. It was an oddly comfortable silence. CEO, after a while, Yeon-hee was the first to speak. Why aren't you remarrying? At the sudden question, Minwoo paused while holding his coffee cup. Why are you asking that all of a sudden? I'm just curious. I heard it from Su-jin. I heard that the CEO lost his wife 5 years ago. I just never thought about it. Aren't you lonely? Minwoo couldn't answer. He felt lonely, but he didn't want to admit it. For my daughter, for my deceased wife, I thought living alone was the right thing to do. It's lonely. In the end, Minwoo answered honestly. Yeon-hee looked at Minwoo. Her gaze contained both empathy and compassion. Me too, Yeon-hee whispered softly. After that day, a strange atmosphere flowed between the two. Every time their eyes met in the office, they quickly turned away from each other. However, the overtime hours grew longer, and the time spent together increased. It was a company dinner. The employees gathered in small groups to drink. Minwoo ended up sitting next to Yeon-hee. As a few drinks went around, Yeon-hee's face turned red. Boss, I'm drunk. Yeon-hee rested her head on Minwoo's shoulder. Minwoo's body has stiffened. There was a faint scent of shampoo in her hair. Yeon-hee, wake up! I'll call a taxi for you. No thanks. I just want to stay like this for a little longer. Minwoo had no choice but to leave her as she was. His heart was racing. What is this? What is this feeling? After the company dinner, Minwoo tried to put Yeon-hee in a taxi. However, Yeon-hee refused the taxi, saying she wanted to walk. The two people walked through the night streets. The streetlight cast their shadows long. Aren't you lonely? Yeon-hee asked again. You said you were lonely. Then why do you live alone? It's because of my daughter. Su-jin still misses her mom. Su-jin is now 22 years old. The director should also live his life. Minwoo couldn't respond to Yeon-hee's words. She was right. But I didn't want to admit it. Yeon-hee, you know? I want to live my own life now. Without worrying about others' opinions, Yeon-hee stopped walking and looked at Minwoo. Under the streetlight, Her eyes sparkled unusually. "You too, director." Yeon-hee took Min-woo's hand. Min-woo looked at her in surprise, but I didn't pull my hand away. Instead, I held on tighter. The two of them sat on a bench in Hangang Park. The river flowed darkly, and the lights from the building across the way reflected on the surface. At 2 in the morning, the world was quiet. "I don't want to go alone tonight," Yeon-hee whispered as she rested her head on Min-woo's shoulder. Min-woo felt like his heart was going to burst. "Yeon-hee, I'm the strange woman who approaches first, like this." "No, you're not." Min-woo embraced her face. Yeon-hee closed her eyes. Min-woo pressed his lips against hers. It was soft and warm. Yeon-hee wrapped her arms around Min-woo's neck. The two of them didn't let go of each other. It was a warmth they hadn't felt in 5 years. Min-woo felt that he was alive. "Shall we go to the hotel?" Min-woo gasped and asked. Yeon-hee nodded her head. As soon as the hotel visit ended, the two embraced again. Yeon-hee unbuttoned Min-woo's shirt one button at a time. Min-woo took off her blouse. Her white shoulders were revealed. Min-woo brought his lips to her nape. Yeon-hee made a small sound. Min-woo laid her down on the bed. "Please take it slow." Min-woo intensified his feelings for her. Yeon-hee gasped for breath. Min-woo entered her world. The two spent the night focused on each other's feelings. It was only at dawn that the two of them fell asleep, exhausted. Min-woo looked at Yeon-hee's face. Her sleeping face was peaceful. Min-woo thought as he brushed her hair aside, "Is this the right thing?" But there was no regret. The next morning, Min-woo received a call from his daughter Su-jin. "Dad, something feels off these days." "What do you mean?" "Yeon-hee hasn't been coming around often lately." Min-woo's heart sank. Did Su-jin notice something? "Well, I don't really know." "Dad, is there something going on with Yeon-hee?" "What are you talking about? She's just an employee." Min-woo hurriedly hung up the phone. Yeon-hee opened her eyes next to me. "I think Su-jin caught us." "It probably isn't yet," but Min-woo couldn't be sure either. Yeon-hee whispered as she nestled in Min-woo's arms. "I want to see you again tonight." Min-woo hugged her. He realized that he could no longer go back. That night, Min-woo met Yeon-hee again. In the hotel room, the two begin to share their love. This time, it seems they are more drawn to each other, and their feelings have deepened. Yeon-hee asked as she nestled in Min-woo's arms. "What if Su-jin finds out?" "Let's think about it." Then, "I like you, Uncle." "Really?" Yeon-hee confessed while burying her face in Min-woo's chest. Min-woo stroked her back. "Me too." But both of them knew. A week later, knowing that this relationship couldn't last forever, Min-woo gathered his courage and invited Yeon-hee to his house. Su-jin said she would sleep over at a friend's house. It was safe. The two of them drank wine on the living room sofa. 분위기가 무르익자 민우는 연희를 침실로 데려갔다. Just then, the sound of the front door opening was heard. Min-woo and Yeon-hee froze at the same time. The sound of footsteps approached the bedroom down the hallway. The bedroom door opened. Dad, Su-jin, was standing in front of the door. Her face was pale. Min-woo hurriedly covered himself with the blanket. Yeon-hee sobbed while getting dressed. "Su-jin, I'm sorry. I'm leaving right now." Su-jin's voice was cold and firm. Yeon-hee hurriedly got dressed and left the house. Only Min-woo and Su-jin are left. "Dad, What are you doing? Su-jin asked with tears in her eyes. Su-jin, listen to me. I don't want to hear it. It's only been 5 years since Mom passed away. How can you do that with a girl who's the same age as your daughter? Yeon-hee is 34. She's not your age. That's important. She's my roommate. How can you do that? Su-jin shouted with tears in her eyes. Min-woo couldn't say a word. The next day, Su-jin came to find Min-woo again. This time, I brought my laptop. Dad, I really know the truth about Yeon-hee. What are you talking about? Su-jin opened the laptop and showed Yeon-hee's SNS and past experiences. Yeon-hee was from Min-woo's rival company, and even now, she was in contact with people from that company. Sister is using Dad. Min-woo couldn't believe he was trying to extract company information, but the evidence was clear. He called Yeon-hee, but she didn't answer. I didn't even read the text. 3 days later, Min-woo went to find Yeon-hee's studio apartment. When he knocked on the door, Yeon-hee came out. Her face was pale. Tell the truth. What is your true identity? Min-woo pressed. Yeon-hee lowered her head, shedding tears. At first, that's what happened. It was something the company asked me to do. What did you say? To extract the company. Information from the CEO, but everything changed after meeting the CEO. I really have come to love you, CEO. Don't lie. It's not a lie. Yeon-hee grabbed Min-woo's arm, but Min-woo turned away, rejecting her. Don't ever show up in front of me again. Min-woo said that and left. I heard Yeon-hee's crying from behind, but I didn't turn around. A week has passed. Min-woo met his friend Juno while drunk. A woman doesn't believe in that, especially that kind of woman, Junho advised. However, Min-woo couldn't forget Yeon-hee's gaze. I was convinced that those eyes were not lying. At that moment, I received a call from the office secretary. Sir, Seo Yeon-hee is waiting in front of the office. Min-woo hurried back to the office. Yeon-hee was standing in front of the office. She handed over a USB drive. This is the evidence. What is it? It contains all the plans of the competitor to bring down your company. I stole this. Min-woo accepted the USB. Yeon-hee kept talking. I was also part of that at first, but after meeting the CEO, everything changed. I love the CEO. Really? Why didn't you say it earlier? I was scared. I was afraid the boss would leave me, so I kept it hidden. I'm sorry, Yeon-hee said, lowering her head with tears in her eyes. Min-woo hugged her. Fool. Min-woo was able to thwart the competitor's scheme with Yeon-hee's information. The company has emerged from the crisis, but the problems still remained. It was my daughter, Su-jin. Su-jin still couldn't accept Yeon-hee. Min-woo sat down seriously with his daughter and talked. Su-jin, Dad has the right to love too. You're betraying Mom. Mom will want Dad to be happy. No! Mom wanted Dad to love only her. Su-jin shouted with tears in her eyes, and then she left the house. Min-woo met Yeon-hee. He told her, because of Su-jin, I don't think we can make it. Yeon-hee nodded while wiping her tears. I understand. I'll be leaving now. As long as the CEO is happy, that's all that matters. But Min-woo held her hand. Don't go. I'll convince you. Even if it takes time, the two embraced. This time, I decided not to let go. 3 months have passed. Minwoo called Su-jin to the cafe. Su-jin sat down with her usual cold expression. Su-jin, please listen to your dad. What is there to listen to? Yeon-hee can't replace your mom. Dad knows that too. But Yeon-hee is someone Dad needs. Dad is a person too. He's lonely and wants to love. Su-jin wiped her tears. After a long silence, he opened his mouth. Be happy. That's what Mom wants, right? Minwoo hugged his daughter. Su-jin hugged her dad tightly. That evening, Minwoo called Yeon-hee to Hanggang Park. Yeon-hee approached with a worried expression. What did Su-jin say? She blessed me, Minwoo said with a smile. Yeon-hee hugged Minwoo, her voice trembling with tears. Thank you. Thank you so much. The two people watched the sunset. The river was dyed red. Minwoo took Yeon-hee's hand. Let's start anew. Yes, the two promised each other a new beginning. Although a difficult road lies ahead, I felt that we could overcome it together. Love is sometimes forbidden and sometimes betrayed, but it continues nonetheless.
You have been with the audio drama Authentic K-Drama Stories until now. At the end of your day, to always keep you warm, the Authentic K-Drama Stories quietly turns on the light again today. See you again in the next episode. Subscribing and liking greatly helps with video production. Thank you for listening.